All
I had a whole conversation about hot mics last night. It's pretty funny.
right. Are you in Florida or in the
I
DC?
am no, 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 I'm in Miami. I gotta get to DC though. But Charlotte started her first day of 5th grade today, so I had to be
Yeah.
here. I know.
My
That's a whole other thing.
my babies are starting a couple of days. Hey all, I'm talking to Katie Fang. She's a tired mama, I'm a tired dad. We're just talking about our babies right now. We're talking about our babies to give us some catharsis and relief from the chaos shit show that is America right now, where it's a great time to be a white collar criminal. To quote Mel Brooks from the movie History of the World, it's good to be the king. But right now, it's good to be a criminal. In fact, you could commit any crime. Kate, I said this a couple of months ago and people thought I was being cheeky, but I said this knowing where we were going to go with Donald Trump in the second administration. I was telling all people of color, don't commit crimes, but if you got to commit a crime, just wear a MAGA hat and kiss Donald Trump's ass, and I predict you'll be A OK. And people are like, it won't be that bad. And as we're talking right now, folks, it's infuriating, in fact. Donald Trump, because, and I'm saying this with some seriousness because we should not normalize what's happening. It's already been normalized. Donald Trump has weaponized law enforcement as his personal army. He has unleashed the National Guard on the nation's capital. He has unleashed FBI agents on the nation's capital for no reason whatsoever, based upon a bullshit allegation by big balls. This is the country we're living in. It's the worst timeline. I want off. Idiocracy can no longer be used as an analogy because even the movie Idiocracy was not that idiotic. 19-year-old Big Balls, a racist Doge incel member, claims he was carjacked by all these black folks. And because of that claim, Donald Trump, of course, has to rewrite history, even though DC has its lowest crime rate right now in years, and violent crime has gone down in America. He said this crime is rampant, and I'm going to have to take over the police office, and I'm going to have to send the National Guard and FBI. Lo and behold, he did it. It was already normalized because he unleashed ICE agents and the National Guard and FBI, the military against innocent LA communities. According to me, we'll talk about it later with Katie. He's setting the stage for a potential martial law. I think people need to take that into account that in case things get really bad, if I was Donald Trump and I had ICE agents who were beholden to me, I would simply say, invaders have taken over. I'm going to have to punt the elections. I got to declare martial law, but
That's
don't worry,
right.
it'll come back.
Yep.
It's normalized, folks. And as
Shut down the polls. Can't let anybody go to the polls.
or just cheat like what's happening in Texas, just redistrict. But I want to before I give it to Katie, I wanted to say as this is happening, folks, as this is happening, uh, he has given a sweetheart deal to one of the most notorious pedophiles on earth, Ghislaine Maxwell. So as he's talking about being tough on crime, for no reason whatsoever, but we know the reason. Todd Blanche, his personal attorney, went and talked to Ghislaine Maxwell and her attorney, and then lo and behold, Katie, less than a week later, for no reason, we know the reason, she gets moved from Florida to Texas to a minimum security camp, where now, thanks to Allison Gill's reporting, we realize she has been cleared. Doesn't mean she sought it, but she has now been cleared for work release. That's happening while freaking National Guard members are terrorizing our fellow Americans in DC and LA. It's a great time to be a criminal, and we have Katie Fang to break it down. You know her, you love her. Katie Fang is a former federal prosecutor. Katie Fang had her own show on MSNBC, but she was smart and she said, you know what? I want to speak out against fascism. So now Katie Fang has her own show on YouTube and she has her own Substack. You have to subscribe to it. You have to actually go and click the bell on YouTube, become a follower of Katie Fang. She breaks it down. Katie has joined me. Katie, I yield the floor to you.
I don't really have a lot left to say. You kind of covered the waterfront there. Well,
I just want to set the stage. I just want to set the stage
oh
and rant
man,
away.
look, so you
Hi,
know where I
Eugene Carroll.
start.
Eugene's here. Eugene Carroll, superstar. I just want to say we gave you a shout out, Eugene. We always do because
Oh,
Eugene fought the fight, and Eugene revealed Donald Trump to be the scum that he is, and Eugene won the case because freaking Donald Trump was held liable for sexual assault and defamation against Eugene Carroll. Sorry, I had to give her a shout out.
she's amazing. She's one of my closest friends. So here's the thing. I was so angry earlier today because I was watching threads and there was a TikTok or an Instagram video that was embedded in somebody's thread. And it showed a young black man walk. There's Eugene right there. Young black man walking down a sidewalk in DC. He was wearing a hoodie, He was had a black hoodie on, black sweatpants, a white t-shirt, and, like white audio kind of headphones in his hand. A white male Metropolitan Police cop walks up to him and, like, grabbed his junk, right?
Yep.
And just started patting him down near his genitals, and other cops and he was like kind of let the guy pat him down but then got a little uncomfortable when the cop was going for his penis, right? So then all these other cops come along, and there's somebody, thank god, standing there recording all of this, so that's how we're able to watch it. But they're trying to do a stop and frisk on this kid. He's a kid,
Yep.
and there is no visible weapon on him, right? You can't see it. And it would be pretty obvious once you've pat down around the waistband whether or not there is going to be a weapon there. So not only do we have illegal stop and frisk happening, but I saw another video where there were um, a guy in DC was just sitting on a stoop drinking a beer, and a DEA agent starts confronting him about drinking beer on his own fucking stoop, which he's allowed to do. And I thought to myself, this is partially to distract us from Epstein. This is partially to stroke Donald Trump's little fucking, small whatever to make his big ego feel better. But this is
A small PP.
so
I can also just stroke his very, very small PP, as we saw in South Park.
exactly. So because he has such a big ego about his small peepee, but it's because Trump and MAGA, they only live in a space of racism. This is
Mhm.
just a way to be able to weaponize law enforcement and to give them more color than they already have. No pun intended, right? More color of authority to be able to go out and harass people of color, right?
Yep.
That's all it is. It's let's do the same shit in LA, and let's go and now you have DEA embedded with ICE doing that in DC, right? You had the same thing happening in LA. Trump threatens to do it somewhere else. I did this really long deep dive with Steve Vladeck today for my YouTube channel. It just got posted about an hour ago. And with all humility, it's worth watching because Steve is so smart and he walks through the legality of how Trump was allowed to get away with it in DC specifically, but how
Right.
he won't be able to replicate it in other cities from a legal perspective. But it's so worth getting into because we know that he has threatened to do this in other places. And it just bothers me to my core because I feel like, you know, this country is already built on racism, and this
Yep.
country runs on racism. And
Yep.
it's not like racism needed a leg up. And now you have him doing what he's doing in DC. And you have the illegal checkpoints. Steve talks about it in our video. These checkpoints that are happening in DC right now, violating Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. And I actually posted the title of the video was "Is this shit legal?" Right? People want to know, is this shit legal that's happening in California and DC? And somebody wrote a comment, they're like, well, when does legality matter anymore? And it really bothered me because I'm not a Pollyanna. You guys know me so well. I'm not a Pollyanna, but I still believe in the law. And so that's why, yes, legality still matters because we still have to fight for the law, and we have to fight for the rule of law and for what is just. Because if we just roll over and play dead, or if we just roll over and pretend like we're going to live in a place with no laws and a land of anarchy, then why bother, right? Like, why bother? Why don't we just go walk up to the White House, put our hands up like this, and be like, take us away? So I see what is happening, and I'm so bothered by this idea that it's just being able to allow more and more perpetration of abuse and violence against our communities of color. And instead of uplifting them and injecting money and trying to just make the world better, he's just trying to drive a wedge even bigger between the haves and the have-nots. And that's not just financial, which we know it is, it's also racial. And what drives me nuts, Waj, is we always get attacked for going towards the issue of race. That's a favorite, like, MAGA thing. Why do you always have to make it about race? Well, because it is, because you guys make it about race.
Because
Because
you're
your
right.
dear Fuhrer cult leader does it. I posted on Instagram yesterday, fucking Benny Johnson went on this rampage about bulldozing entire ethnic communities in
Yeah.
DC because they're, quote, crime cesspools. And then he was like bitching that he used to live in DC, and every day he called them epithets. epithets would be hurled at him and that rocks were being thrown at him. And I was like, you know what? I actually, in my video watch, I said, you know, Benny, maybe people are throwing rocks at you because you're just a racist fucking asshole.
Or a
I mean,
plagiarist, or a man who took money from Russia and allegedly had no idea and promoted Russian talking points. Just throwing it
and
out there.
it's
Maybe
like,
because
what,
you're hacked.
you know, and then I did see somebody post, and I'm wondering, and your thoughts, Waj. Somebody's like, we are on the verge of a civil war. Somebody said we are on the verge of a civil war in a few years. And it kind of maybe, oh, just kind of stopped me dead in my tracks. I don't know if it's hyperbole for people to say that, but it's hard. It's hard to watch these videos now proliferating on the internet showing what is happening. Fucking federal agents walking down
Yeah,
Georgetown. I mean,
everyone
you
should be
know,
pissed.
people should be mad, and what they're trying to do, and to your point about normalization, they're trying to make us feel like this is a normalized moment where, oh, it's okay to see people with, you know air rifles walking down the street, right? Or people that are, armed to the hilt and fatigues, camo, walking down the street. Like, that's not normal. And so we shouldn't normalize it. Unfortunately, in DC, there are certain laws that are allowing Donald Trump to get away with what he's getting away with now. But that's also why we're focusing heavily on what's happening in California and the trial that's happening. Gavin Newsom suing the administration about what happened there in June. So we're watching that really carefully. But to your original premise of our hanging out today, as long as you kiss Trump's ass, the added benefit you get is you can crime all you want, and there's nobody there who's minding the till, who's going to be sitting there trying to hold you to account. Unless you're
And
black, brown, Asian, Hispanic, an immigrant, then you're fucked.
yeah, speaking about criminals who fail up in life, Donald Trump. Speaking about criminals who get pardoned, violent insurrectionists. Speaking about violent insurrectionists or people who were part of the insurrection against our free and fair election, who now have a cushy job. E.J. Antoni, who we'll talk about in a second, who has now replaced the very elevated and esteemed and educated commissioner, a woman. I'm forgetting her last name, but she was
It's
replaced the doctor,
Erica
Doctor
McInterfer.
Dr. Erica McInterfer was replaced because Donald Trump didn't like the job report numbers that showed that his stupid tariffs and trade war are hurting the economy. So now you have E.J. Antoni, who, by the way, folks, connecting all the dots, completely unqualified. So thank you, mediocrity and white supremacy, for letting a guy like that fail up. Was part and parcel of the insurrection. There's a photo of him, and like everyone else, has a big photo of Hitler's favorite Navy ship behind him on his
I
Zoom.
forgot that.
As
That's right.
one
I
does.
forgot that.
So the racism is to the core of it. But, in addition to him, there's 22-year-old Thomas Fugate, totally qualified, was a gardener and a grocery assistant who right now is a minion of Stephen Miller, and is the person who, by the way, folks, as a 22-year-old, is leading the Department of Homeland Security as tasked for countering violent extremism. Thomas Fugate. There's also, don't worry, if you don't like the young ones, there's someone who's a bit older now, Joe Kent. Yes, the U.S. Senate
That's
confirmed
right.
Joe Kent, two-time Republican candidate for Congress, to now be the director of National Counterterrorism Center, where he will go against the number one domestic terror threat in America, which is not Antifa, which is not
What
the libs,
about
which is not the
Ed
woke.
Martin? Ed Martin couldn't make it as the U.S. Attorney for D.C. Instead, box of wine, Janine Pirro, drunk extraordinaire, gets the job, but Ed Martin gets to head up the weaponization working group. So now he's going after, you know, political quote opponents or enemies of Donald Trump. And he's doing it legally because he's doing it as a special attorney. And so they're launching all these investigations into the Obama officials. I mean, to your point, the list goes on and on. Alina Habba, my favorite fucking parking lot lawyer, her ass, the federal judges in New Jersey said, we don't want you to be here. She doesn't know how to read the room to save herself. And she ends up getting this first assistant who she handpicked for the job. She gets fired. So Alina ends up becoming the first assistant, and because there's a vacancy for the U.S. attorney in New Jersey, she becomes the acting U.S. attorney in New Jersey. It's like, you want to talk about failing up? It is insane how only incompetence gets rewarded. Well, I'll take it back. If you kiss his ass, it's okay if you're incompetent because you kissed his ass. I mean,
Emil
clearly,
Bube.
Waj, we're on the wrong
Emil
side. Well,
Bube.
yeah, Emil Bovey, Todd Blanche, Pamela Joe, fucking Marco Rubio. I mean, I just did a video about this Antony guy. And I said in my video, like you just said, Waj, which is It's like you just get rewarded. It's like it's the only thing you need to do is kiss his ass and you get rewarded. Or if you make him feel better about who he is, then you'll get rewarded in some way. But I said, well, it affects all of us. It'd be like one
That's
thing if
right.
it was just them in some private weird tryst, but like these are important jobs that impact all of us in so many significant ways that you can't be complacent about it. That's why you and I have these conversations. That's why everybody who's tuning in right now is understandably angry and joining in. And that's why I try to tell people it's exhausting to have to do this day in and day out, but this is what we have to do. We have to constantly call them out for their hypocrisy, for their incompetence, for their cruelty, for their racism, for their fascism, for their authoritarian tendencies. It's the only way. It's the only way we're going to survive this,
And
however intact we are, you know?
and speaking about, whether or not I'll give you my thoughts on whether or not we're going to a civil war, but I will say this, and I hope I'm wrong. I do think America's cooked for a while. I was talking to David Rothkopf, I think last month,
I
and
love
he at a
David.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he came out of a meeting, like an 8 hour meeting with a lot of experts from different fields, and this was last month. And he said the type of damage that has been done in the first 7 months, it's only been 7 months, folks, is generational. And I don't think people realize it, Katie, right? Because you and I have been part of institutions speaking about the hollowing out of these institutions, when you replace qualified, intelligent men and women and people of color with the world's worst, most mediocre affirmative action MAGA hires, what you're losing is also expertise, right? You're making the country less safe. You're making the country less efficient, right? You are actually harming America and its reputation, and America can no longer run efficiently, effectively, right? People forget that. In addition to the corruption and the racism, the greed and the grift, right? So the hollowing out of our institution, the hollowing out of our agencies, and the replacing of our, qualified FBI agents with Kash Patel, whose only
Oh,
job was to be a conspiracy theorist who has a hit list, a list of enemies that he promised on Steve Bannon's show before the election that if we win and I become FBI director, I'm going to go against the enemy from within, right? Dan Bongino, completely unqualified. Pam Bondi, completely unqualified. Caroline Levitt, right? These are all MAGA yes men and reeks of Donald Trump who realize that they have to fulfill the delusional romantic, if you will, fantasies of their 79-year-old lizard king who can barely stand on his cankles. But the type of damage that they're doing to the American Republic, our security, and the fact that the damage, not exclusively, but mostly is being felt by who? People of color and women. So whether will we get to a civil war, I don't know. But well, I will say is this, because I've been keeping the receipts for several years. I said Donald Trump would not leave in 2019. I was mocked and ridiculed. I said, y'all aren't paying attention. Donald Trump did a violent insurrection. Then I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be the present and future of the Republican Party. They said, no, 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 the moderates will take over. Then I said, Donald Trump is going to pardon all the insurrectionists. He is then going to purge the FBI, put in Cash Patel. It's going to be Project 2025 on steroids. And now, the one thing that hasn't come true, and I hope I'm wrong, Katie, I'm going to bring it back full circle. There's two E's that are Donald Trump's kryptonite: Epstein and the economy. We could talk about Epstein for a second. And also their incompetence. Thankfully, these are the world's most reckless, incompetent authoritarians. But things are going bad for him.
mm,
He's negative double digits on inflation, negative double digits on the economy. He's now negative on immigration, which was his strong suit because he overplayed his hand going against Latinos. He's completely reversed his gains with Latinos. Now it's like to 2016 ratings, right? And by the way, folks, it seems like we're going to go to a recession sooner than later. I hope I'm wrong. Texas is openly cheating. He's openly telling Texas to gerrymander and cheat and steal seats. He's unleashing the plan, I think, probably 6 months before he wanted to, out of desperation, and now sending troops to DC, sending troops to California. It's going to happen in all the blue states. If I were him, Katie, what I would say is this, leading up to the 2026 midterms, if it seems like not only if the House will flip, but now it seems like Democrats might actually maybe 50-50 on the Senate, maybe 51-49. I would say this: by the power vested in me and given to me by the Supreme Court, I'm the executive. And as such, now that I have given $180 billion to ICE, thanks to the big, beautiful bill from hell, and now that I have 10,000 masked armed ICE agents at my disposal, folks, The streets are paved with criminals and immigrants and El Salvadoran and Venezuelan rapists, and it is my job to keep the streets safe. And I have to declare martial law and suspend the elections, Katie. But don't worry, they'll come back just for a little bit until we can, make sure everything is safe. And I'm going to unleash ICE. Oh, I don't know, in California and New York and Illinois and maybe some other places. And then,
Oh, is he frozen? Is it just me? Is he frozen? Waj, I should probably screenshot this. Is it just me? He's frozen. I'm still around. Can you guys hear me? He's frozen. Oh, and he's gone. Are we still together though? Are we all together? He's frozen. Are you guys still here? Is he coming
yeah,
back? I should have screenshot your face. It was so beautiful. We can kind of hear you. You're coming in and out. I think he's still a little frozen. Um, First of all, I want to apologize to God. God is in our chat, and I've been cursing a lot, so I'm very sorry, God. I'm very sorry. Sorry. Yes, I know. Waj was on an overloaded rant, and it broke Substack. Yeah. So, um,
Sorry,
yeah, there
guys.
he's back. There he's back. Somebody said that your rant was so overloaded that that it broke Substack.
No, I handed it over to you, and then you were like, the last thing I saw of you was like you were in a pregnant pause, and I'm like, that's a really long pregnant pause, but it was
No,
me.
you
Sorry,
were
folks.
frozen. You were
I'm in a
frozen for
hotel.
us.
Forgive me. Thank you all for sticking around. Forgive me for my terrible. I'm traveling right now. Katie, sorry. Give it to you.
No, no, no. And I wanted to know because I love everybody in the chat. I love you guys so much. Yes, I know Gavin Newsom has declared war on Governor Greg Abbott's and Donald Trump. So yes, I knew that this was going to be coming today, and it's a big campaign that he has going. And so I'm very happy to hear that we are punching the bullies back in the nose. I have been asked repeatedly, and the evolution of my opinion of this has gotten stronger and stronger. Our good friend Keith Edwards asked me on his show over the weekend, whether, I thought that it was appropriate for us to just kind of do like business as usual. And I said, no. I said, we have to punch a bully in the nose. I'm tired of us always having to take the high road. I said, we can take high roads and we need to rebuild norms and institutions and we can do that, but you have to be in power to do that. And so we have to do what it takes to get into power, period. End of story. I don't want to hear this bullshit about how it's not appropriate, it's not seemly, it's not nice. I don't give a fuck. I have too much at stake. I care too much about my family, you guys, everybody. I do not want to live in America that is mirroring Donald Trump and MAGA. I'm over it. I'm also over somebody trying to make a distinction between I'm not MAGA, but I'm a Republican. That has gone out the door too. I have never heard of the MAGA political party. If there is it, somebody please correct me because I'm always happy to eat crow, but it doesn't exist. You're either a Democrat or Republican, independent slash no party affiliation, or whatever. Whatever you do, though, you believe in God because God is in the chat. But either way, I'm over that too. I'm over people looking me in the face and saying, well, look, I'm not MAGA, but I voted for Trump. Then we have nothing to talk about. I'm not trying to convince you. I don't need to convince you. I am not on a mission to save you. I'm on a mission to save me, my family, and the people that love me and that care for me like I love them and I care for them. Strangers galore. I feel the same way about you. There has been something incredibly enlightening, Waj. I have traveled a lot lately for work and for pleasure. To have that privilege has been something that I have really had more of an appreciation for since I left MSNBC. And I have been to cities and states that are just steeped in inclusion and that embrace diversity and just have a decency about them. And
Yeah.
then I have to come back to this fucking cesspool of Florida where it's just putting aside just the individual issues I have with the state, but I think about how I'm supposed to be continuing to raise my child in a place where Ron DeSantis has now declared the deportation depot a
Yep.
prison in northern Florida because he's having legal challenges with Alligator Alcatraz, the concentration camp in Miami. He is now going to use a currently not used because it's of a lack of staffing, a prison for immigrant detainees called the deportation depot. I
Yep.
am just over it. I am not trying to convert you. If you are MAGA, or more accurately now, if you're a Republican, I'm just going to tell it like it is. And you're either going to have the scales fall from your eyes and you're going to realize the error of your ways, or you're going to continue to cite to your fucking 401k like you've done for forever to justify Donald Trump. I don't want to, I'm just, I'm over it. I'm over it. And so because I am over it, when I see Gavin Newsom say, what do you want? What do you want from me? I'm not, I have a kid too. I have a family. I have constituents. I care about, democracy. You know what? There we go. And that also means, though, that all of you that are tuning in, you got to let me know when you're running for office because we have to change our electeds in DC. I'm over
Yeah.
that shit too.
Yeah.
I'm over that shit too. I don't know why we lionize people in DC, why we put them on pedestals when they're doing the job that we gave them the power to do. Well, I don't know why we have looked at these people that are in DC that have been elected into these jobs that we put them in, and that there's some huge chasm and abyss of just space between us and them. I just they're given celebrity status for absolutely no reason. I'm not sure why, and maybe I'm just ignorant and naive. But you know what? I'm happy with that level of ignorance because I just don't get it. I don't understand like why we think that they are supposed to be doing anything less than what we tell them to do as their constituents. I'm lost. I'm lost on this one. So for those of you that are equally as incensed and inspired, let us know because Waj and I will help you when you run for office because that's the only thing that we're going to be able to do. And we have to take care of each other. I think that we're getting scared and we're also getting a little tired. And I think we need to hit the reset button and we need to start taking care of each other a little bit more again.
You know what? I'm here for Katie and Joy giving zero Fs. There's something in the water. They weren't like this on MSNBC. They're unleashed, and I want to. I mean, I remember Katie when I first met you. I think it was 7 or 8 years ago. Katie and I
Crazy.
used to be on Saturday early morning at MSNBC. We met each other in the green room, and Katie was like, "I come from Florida, and I'm kind of centrist, and I don't like Trump." And now Katie, 7, 8 years later, she's like, let's burn these mother effers down. And you know what? I'm in the same boat, Katie. What you said is what I've articulated in my own thoughts is the following. I believe after 10 years, and I said this actually on Chris's show, Chris Hayes' show about 7 years ago, and unfortunately it's been proven right. I said, I believe, Chris, we've lost 30% of Americans for my lifetime. They live in their own bubble. They're not evil. They're just American, but I cannot compete with right wing media, right? Up is down, left is right. Now Donald Trump won the election that he lost, and now apparently vaccines don't work. Okay, we've lost them, but I don't need them. I need the majority. Give me 70%. With the 70%, the caravan moves forward. The door will always be open. MAGA, you want to come in? Great. If not, all right, peace. Relationships require reciprocity. I'm
Yep.
not going to break myself trying to convince you that I'm a human being who deserves rights. I don't have to prove my humanity to you anymore. Like I've tried. It's done. Nothing works. You're a triple trumper. I don't know what else to say to you. You're a masochist and you apparently hate me and Katie and our family so much that you would rather die than share a buffet table with us. Okay, peace, take care. You're going to learn the hard way. The economy is going to just come like around the corner and slap you in the ass. And then once you're broken down and ailing and beaten, and you're going to go, I have healthcare. You're going to realize, oh shit, I don't have healthcare because the billionaire stole it. All right, peace, take care. Maybe inshallah, then you'll come on the caravan. But we need the 70%. We have the numbers, Katie. We have the majority. We have the most populous states. What bothers me is the only party that we have right now that is supposed to fight back. We have Ken Martin, the head of the DNC, who last week finally said, Katie, we're going to fight fire with fire. We're no longer going to bring a pencil to a knife fight. And I'm like, wonderful, you're almost there. But guess what? The Republicans have been bringing a friggin' bazooka for 10 years. And then another analogy I've been giving is, Pritzker and Newsom and Hochul, I give them props the way they're talking. But I feel like it's a game double dutch. where it's like, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna jump in, and I'm sitting there saying, "Mother effers, jump, jump in." It doesn't matter whether or not you threaten them; they are doing it. Republicans, folks, are openly gerrymandering. They're telling you that Donald Trump commanded them to steal the 5 seats. He's also gone via JD Vance to Indiana. They will do it.
Yep.
Whether you do it or not, they are going to do it. What more do you need to see? Going back full circle, they have unleashed the National Guard on the nation's capital. None of this is normal. We should be up in the arms. Do it. Flex. And not only that, Katie, I'm going to go a step further because I might be even a little bit more radical than you. I don't know. I've been saying for a few years the Supreme Court is corrupt. You have 6 radicalized right wing hacks in black robes. We need to reform the court. You need to run on reforming the court. You need to mainstream the messaging of expanding the court, and it'll take 5 years for Americans to get there. This Supreme Court, through the emergency docket, Katie, and if you could explain that to people, because I don't think people know, this Supreme Court is, I think, batting 15 for 15, giving Donald Trump and this administration everything he wants from the through the emergency docket, right? Um, how about expanding the court? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm all for term limits. One, term limits not only for our Supreme Court justices, but this lifetime appointment shit, it shouldn't work for any federal judge, either on the trial court, which is the district court, the federal appeals court, or the Supreme Court level. I'm also a big fan of, I don't know, maybe we need a term limit in Congress, period.
Mm,
Like, as in, I don't think you should be able to be in Congress for like 20 years. Like, get another job. Get another job. Like, there comes a time, like, it shouldn't be the end of your journey. It should be a place you go to do a service for the people that put you in the office, for your constituents, and then you need to move on. Take that collected knowledge and experience and go somewhere else. If you end up lobbying, whatever, I mean, I'm not going to burn you for that. But you know what? People that have been in Congress for like, I'm just over that shit too. I just feel like if we're going to change, let's change it all. Let's change it all because it hasn't been working. And the problem was, though, to affect the change that you want, you have to be in a position of power to do it. And
yeah,
if you can't get
that's the
there,
problem.
then you and I can sit here and talk about it till we turn blue in the face. But that's the only thing that's going to be blue, and it ain't going to be your fucking Congress. So we actually have to get people elected to be able to do this. And getting people elected now these days is harder than it sounds, right? So I just think people need to take that fire that they feel in the pit of their belly, and they need to continue to do what they're doing. I am not criticizing anybody at all. I think people need to continue to be as strong as they are. They can do what's comfortable for them, and they should just continue to feel this anger, because you know what, I don't want to hear that it's toxic. I don't want to hear that it's unhealthy. It's getting me going every day. I wake up, my husband says I wake up seething, and he is 100% fucking accurate. I wake up seething. It's like radioactive core Katie Fang. I am just over it, and I'm just ready to be able to continue to contribute to the fight in the ways that I can.
This radioactive Katie, I love this transformation. It's like the Incredible Hulk, but Incredible Hulk was also a superhero because Katie, this is what happens, folks. We need this type of energy. And what I've said, Katie, is, when Democrats say we need restoration, I say restoration to what? Institutions that were corrupted and were actually not helping the majority and were being abused by the rich and powerful. I'm not here for restoration. I believe, Katie, that your energy. You are actually channeling the energy of the majority. They want reformation, and they're angry and they're pissed. And what they want, Katie, are fighters. They want
Yep.
people to fight. And to use a sports analogy, even if your team loses, folks, if your team fights until the end, the final 10 seconds, and lose by a field goal, you know what you say, man. It sucks that we lost, but my team fought. It came down to like a field goal. I want you when they go high, when they go low, we go high. No, you take them out by their goddamn knees. You put them in a knee bar, you make them tap out. So I think that this type of energy that you're channeling is something that Democratic Party has resisted for months. And I'm talking about the corporate consultants and the corporate donors and the corporate
Oh,
money.
I don't listen. I don't want to hear that. I do not want to hear a single sound from those people anymore. And they know who they are. And you know what? That's the problem with the mainstream media these days, too. It's the same damn pundits over and over again. I'm tired of that shit, too. Same old people, usually usually not people of color saying the same old shit on cable news day in and day out.
Yeah,
End of
Katie's done.
story.
I look,
End of story. I don't want to hear it. There's a reason why I don't watch cable news. Sorry.
and
Here's a
look
news
at
flash. Not
the good
watching.
the truth tellers. I had back to back Joy and Katie. They had shows on MSNBC, and look at the people who are elevated, and look at the people who don't have shows anymore. It shows you corporate media's bent the knee, and with cable news, their ratings are sinking.
They have
Uh,
a monitor that they're installing at CBS Paramount now
Barry
to make
Weiss is going to
sure
be
that
that
they're
monitor.
not too DEI. Can't be too DEI. Can't have any DEI. Everything's got to be the requisite level of fair. You got to not have a bias. You got to give competing political viewpoints the same amount of space. No, you don't. You don't have to let Scott Jennings spew his misinformation and disinformation and lies. You don't have to let that happen. Who the fuck ever said that you have to do this? This is crazy shit. Whoever said it? Paramount didn't have to take a knee and do this, but CBS Paramount decided that they were going to do this. It's like I don't want to hear the complaining. You took a knee, you capitulated. So what are you complaining about now?
They chose to do it, Katie, and I think that's very important. They chose to do this because they agree with Donald Trump. Paramount chose to bribe him. Paramount chose to give him money. They could have fought for it. They would have won the case. Sullivan's in your back pocket. The Supreme Court, you have robust First Amendment protections, but they chose to bribe him. They chose to bend the knee. They chose to get rid of Stephen Colbert for criticizing Donald Trump. They chose to give $7 billion contract to UFC for 7 years, folks. UFC is an
Where
in-kind
you saw
donation.
you saw that they're going to do the UFC fight on the 250th anniversary of our country next year. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, 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 yes, 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 of course.
Yeah,
I
because
thought,
because
well,
that
but
that's not tacky, right?
did they confirm it, or was it because I know he promoted it, but like these guys are probably going to do it. Oh, the
Oh
$200 million
no.
restoration or creation of the White House ballroom as people starve, and then also, folks, what Katie was talking about. Someone I saw in the chats, CBS News, Paramount, if you will, because of the merger, is now going to be run by Larry Ellis' son, Ellison, another oligarch who wants to live forever and is a Trumper, and he wants to buy Barry Weiss's Free Press for an obscene amount of money. It's not worth it at all because she, is kind of pro genocide and they kind of are cool with that. And then she wants to have Barry Weiss being an ombudsman of CBS, as
But
Katie would, to make it fair.
well, the source of this is CBS News, ironically, so take it for what it is. UFC will stage a historic fight at the White House on July 4th, 2026, marking America's 250th birthday with what will be the first professional mixed martial arts event ever held at the presidential residence. Let me be clear.
Oh,
I don't care if you're into UFC. I don't care if you're into any sport. It's just the denigration of the sanctity of a place like the White House to do this on July 4th is the same thing as celebrating the birthday of the United States Army with Trump's birthday to make him feel better, right? Like it's just this whole why why is everybody kissing his ass? Why are they I just and here's the thing, Waj, you and I both know that he would never invite his MAGA cult followers to break bread with him at
never,
Mar-a-Lago.
never.
He mocks them behind their backs. He would never have the quote regular Joe or Jane MAGA voter come to Mar-a-Lago. Have you ever seen him open the doors of Mar-a-Lago to the voters? I'm being serious. I have never seen him open the doors to Trump Bedminster, Trump Doral, Mar-a-Lago. When has he ever said, "Please come, my people, come and break bread with me"? He has never done that because he doesn't respect them. He is using them, and they're either totally ignorant folk that don't realize they're being used, or they are and they just don't give a shit. In my mind, I don't like people like that. So again, I'm not
I,
trying to
I don't
convert
even
them. That's somebody else's fucking job.
I don't want to waste my time with them. I'm at that point where if you're a triple Trumper and you're part of a cult, I'm that's not my expertise. I don't have time to waste anymore. I'm a middle-aged man. I'm 44. I have less years ahead of me than behind me.
Oh, you're
I got
younger than
three.
me, honey.
I got three. Yeah, but Asian don't raisin. I've aged horribly. So there you go. I have three kids, and they're brown skinned, and they have multisyllabic names like me. And I have to fight for an America that makes them safe, and your kids safe, and everyone's kids safe, where we can stretch and expand and live freely and have a wonderful, delicious buffet with great culture and great music. And I don't have time for them and their grievance and their rage and their myths and
Did
their
you?
cult worship of this old fraud who has failed up in life and now has cankles and is 79 years old and is freaking just losing it both mentally and physically. We have to fight. And in this fight, Katie, we have the numbers. We need to use the numbers, in my opinion, to cull the Democratic Party of anyone who's not a fighter and install the fighters, right? Because I agree with you that Democratic Party, even though I have my criticisms with it, it's not the same as the Republicans. From a political front, it's the only, if you will, political institution as a party that we can use to fight back. Corporate media, I have no faith in them. I knew they would voluntarily roll out the red carpet for fascists. I've been saying with my co-host Danielle for years, just like it happened in Italy, just like it happened in Nazi Germany. Business is good for now, but guess what, folks? I've always said this, and I'll say it again: fascists come for everyone. If you don't believe me, look at Mike Pence running for his life on January 6th.
No, we don't need fascist sympathizers. We saw how well that turned out for them in Nazi Germany. And we do not want to be a Vichy France in the United States. There's no collaborators, there's no cooperators, there's no, we don't do that. If this is not clear as day to you, then there really isn't anything for us to be talking about. Did you are you familiar with the I've Had It podcast with
Yeah,
Angie Pump Sullivan and Jennifer Welch? Did you see Jennifer's rants about triple
not only did I
Trumpers?
see it, I shared it. I have quoted it, and I have told this is like one of the very few times on Blue Sky, Katie. I was like, if anyone knows this woman, connect me with her because I want to give her an invite to the Left Hook. So if you know her, connect me because I'm like, I want white people to channel Jennifer's white rage against Donald Trump. But continue, please tell them for those who don't
So
know.
I will. So I am friendly with Jennifer and Angie. So they have an amazing podcast and YouTube show called I've Had It. And you would look at them and you would think initially, superficially, you would think, oh, they must be Trump people. They're blonde. They're from, they like they don't they kind of like look like maybe because they're just white and blonde that maybe they would fit into that kind of stereotypical idea that they're Trump supporters, but they are raging not Trump supporters. But Jennifer just went on a rant that was just spectacular and went viral, as you know, talking about how she's had it and she's over triple Trumpers and how they shouldn't be allowed to go eat in our Mexican restaurants, our Chinese restaurants. They shouldn't be able to participate in the multiculturalism, which is our country that makes it beautiful and spicy and unique and spectacular and totally different than any other place in the world. And she's right. We, those of us that have the ability to provide as private establishments and to exclude people, if you're MAGA, I mean, I don't really think that you should get service. It's like Alan Dershowitz trying to buy pierogies at the farmer's market, on the vineyard, on Martha's Vineyard. Good for them not giving this asshole pierogies. It's their fucking prerogative. And Dershowitz is so butthurt over it, he's now suing them because he couldn't get fucking pierogies. I
The
mean,
true story, folks. She's
really?
not making this up.
I'm not making it up. So, what I'm trying to say is, I'm all for exclusion. We are the party of inclusion, but I am all for exclusion right now. I think we should be the party of exclusion moving forward, excluding people that are haters, that are racist, that are fascists, that only want to sit. What is this fucking Kentucky clerk? That bitch, I thought she'd fucking gone away. Now she wants the Supreme Court to take up her case to overturn same sex marriage. Bitch, get a life. Go do something else with your sorry, ugly face. I don't understand why people like that don't just crawl under a rock and go away. But you know what? Because MAGA finances this shit and they embolden her and they think that she can run around and do it. But you know what I posted? I said somebody better let those log cabin Republicans, married gays Republicans know that their same-sex marriages, if if the SCOTUS says no, their shit gonna go bye-bye too, right?
And
And
you
like I
know. Go ahead. No, you're on a heater right now. I'm
No,
not gonna.
and like I've always said too, Republican women get abortions too. So I don't want to hear shit. Nobody's talking about reproductive freedom anymore. That shit's just as important still. Go defunding our Planned Parenthood. Like I said, I am all for being the party of exclusion. I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't
You
have
know what?
patience for it.
I've never seen Katie this over it, but I'm here for a radicalized Hulk Katie with zero F's to give, with the cigarette, the long dangling cigarette in her mouth, and then she takes out the cigarette and she blows a cigarette in your smoke in slow motion, right in your eyeballs. I think this is the type of energy that we need, Katie. And I hope people who are listening, because they're going to clip this up, because MAGA's always butthurt, and they have the nonstop victim complex, and it's perpetual grievance, and they demand safe spaces for themselves, no safe spaces for us. They demand civility, but they only give cruelty. But relationships, folks, going back full circle, is about reciprocity. If a group of people have told you for the past 10 years that they do not see you as equal human beings, that they're perfectly fine mocking you, ridiculing you, having masked armed agents attack your communities, terrorize your schools, go after your grandmas, go after your grandpas, right? Erase you from America's history, literally remove some of the best, most qualified people from your community from positions of power to be replaced by a Pete Kexa or an EJ Antoni or an RFK. The fact that your only job is to sit there and take it forever and say thank you, daddy, and you can't complain. If you do complain, you'll be friggin' picked up and deported to another country. And your job is just to sit there and say, well, yes, I'm happy with the appetizers. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me be a Cash Patel. Thank you for giving me another white blonde girlfriend. But it'll never make you white or blonde Cash, right? Nope. I'm not here for it. I'm not here to be a spectator. I'm not here for the to be your assistant. I'm not here to be a sidekick. Our parents, Katie, your dad and my dad's generation had to put up with a lot. If I may go on a rant for a minute, they had to come to this country. My dad always tells me, he came to this country post 1965 thanks to the Immigration and Nationality Act, which Stephen Miller, by the way, says is the worst thing to happen in America because it brought people like me and Katie to this country where we were able to be born in this country, right? Because Asians couldn't come to this country for 40 years thanks to white supremacy, right? Because we were going to replace them. It's the same story. My dad said back in those days, right, if you saw another brown person, you used to cross the street and exchange information because it was so rare. They used to get mocked for their accent. They got ridiculed, but nonetheless, they persisted. If Chet worked 9 to 5, your dad and my dad worked 9 to 10. If Chet worked Monday through Friday, our parents had to work Monday through Sunday. And through merit and hard work, they were able to rise up, even though they didn't have whiteness and wealth, right? And we made it because we worked harder, we were talented, we were smarter. And you and I know, you're an Asian woman, I'm a brown skinned Muslim man with the name Wajahat. Even in our respective careers in law and in media, how you and I had to work twice as hard to get where we were. And there, Scott Jennings could mediocre his way up, right? And just bulldoze a black woman, Abby Phillips, over her own show. Which is why, folks, whiteness is still a superpower in this country.
Oh,
Katie and I,
yes.
Katie and I can say what we want to say. But what I said before, and I tweeted this on Blue Sky when it came to Jennifer's rant, I know it sucks to admit it. It's 2025. But a white woman or a white man saying what me and Katie said has 10 times more weight in the United States of America, even in 2025. So having a white woman go on that rant, Katie, uh, a blonde white woman, and it's no fault of Jennifer. She is who she is. I'm not knocking her for who she is, but her her saying that knowing full well that she's saying it with her white skin and her name Jennifer as a blonde white woman. That's why it's so powerful. Because now America goes, a suburban voter, a real American is getting fed up. You and me aren't suburban voters. We aren't real Americans. We aren't from the heartland, right? These are all euphemisms for white folks. Oh, well, they're getting pissed off at Donald Trump. Maybe the tide is turning. And this is why we need white people who are listening to us, white women if you're our allies, you need to invoke the Katie Fang energy. You need to be like literally, you need to say, I'm done with y'all. If you don't like my friend Katie, F off, don't go to the Chinese restaurant. If you don't like my friend Waj, never eat at that halal cart that is in front of Fox News headquarters in friggin' New York where
And
they
there's
all
like a
go and eat.
line going around the corner always for
All
the
those
halal
mother
cart.
effers every day go out and eat at the halal cart. No, F you. Don't serve them, right? So this is the type of energy we need. And if you're white watching, I hope you understand it's not all white folks. I'm talking about those people who are triple Trumpers, the people who are,
We
oh, I
have
don't
them in the
know.
chat. We have great white people in the chat right
Yeah,
now that are
I'm
like,
a favorite people.
we're a white person. There's Jean. She's like, I'm a white woman with zero fucks to give. I'm grateful. I want to be clear to all of you of
Yeah.
all colors and all backgrounds. Waj and I are grateful no matter who you are, what you are. Why? Because A, we do love everybody for who they are and what they are. And B, because we just need us to kind of collectively get our shit together in a way that we is unifying so that we can take this energy and harness it and drive it forward. So for those of you that may have missed the Newsom stuff, go and check out the Newsom website and see what he's got going on and see what the redistricting plan is and see how you can support that. And just continue to kind of do what you guys are doing, which is caring enough to join us on a Thursday afternoon to hang out with Waj and me and to just kind of share this space because I have said since day one, the Substack community is bar none the best one. And it's the one where we can interact with you and the one where we can do this. And you can't do this. And I like Blue Sky and I even, appreciate other platforms. But we can't do this on Blue Sky and stuff. Like this is the place where we can hang out and do this, which is why it's so good to be here on Substack.
And I will say, and it's a diverse community, and we just want, look, you all know this, but there's always people, MAGA, who clip up this thing and say, "See, they hate white people." No, we don't. The people who hate white people are the oligarchy who are coming after your money and your Medicaid. We want an expansive America that has a promise that it is a refuge for anyone and everyone, where people like me and Katie and our families can come and achieve the American dream. The people who want to take away that American dream, who want to steal it from you, is Donald Trump and MAGA. Theirs is a vision of miserliness. Ours is hopefully a gracious and generous vision, right? We want to expand, they want to constrict. We see diversity as something beautiful. They see it as replacement, folks. And this is why we need all hands on deck, 10 toes down. We need everyone to do their part, right? Everyone has a role to play, Katie. This will be my final thing before I give it to you for the final word. But, I'm sure, Katie, you meet a lot of people who say this to you. And I give speeches. I get this all the time. Literally, it's framed this way: I'm just a nobody. I'm just an average American. What can I do? And I always tell them, Katie, I'm also a nobody. We're all nobodies. We're all somebody to someone. And everyone has a role to play when it comes to resistance. I know God's watching. He's a huge fan of Andor. Andor, that Star Wars series, showed you that it wasn't the Jedis and the Yodas and all the people with superpowers who helped bring down the Empire. It was the average Jose's, the workers, the merchants, the people who are doing media. Everyone has a role to play, right? Everyone has a superpower. If you're a stay-at-home mom or dad, the way you raise your children, the language you use, the way you show them, you teach them different books, the way you show how you treat your neighbor, that impacts future generations, right? If you're on your street, run for your school board, run for city council, right? What Katie said: if you want to run for office, we need people who are working class, people who can articulate what it feels like to pay the bills, right? We need healthcare professionals to run, right? Speak out. If you have your own community, Substack, start your own Substack, your YouTube channel, right? If you're a Christian and you're like, I don't know a Muslim, I don't know a Jew, pick up the phone, call your mosque, call the synagogue, create, at least in your local town, a bulwark, something that could protect your community, right? Mass strikes, folks,
Yep.
boycotting with your dollar. This is key. The color that trumps all colors in America is the color green. And trust me, all these corporations, no matter how much they love Trump, they love money more. Once they realize that Trump and MAGA are toxic, that it's losing the money, they're going to turn. So everyone has a role to play. And Katie and here, hopefully, are doing our part to uplift those voices and those fighters who are fighting for our democracy. You don't have to agree on everything, folks, but maybe we can agree that at the very least, our kids, regardless of their skin color, their gender, their religion, have a chance to achieve the American dream, to be the hero of the American story, and inshallah, maybe live with peace and security. If you agree with that, come on board to my caravan. I want to get 70% and move forward. I won't get the 30%, but I will say this as a testament and as a test to me, hopefully being generous and not being corrosive. I always say this, Katie. The caravan moves forward, the door will always be open. My hand will be stretched out. But now it's up to those 30% to actually do their part and extend their hand because relationships require reciprocity. But I don't have time, Katie, to wait. The caravan has to move forward. Thank you for listening to my rant. I yield the floor to you for the final word, Katie Fang.
Well, I mean, Waj, you're using the word caravan. That's a Trump adjacent like beauty word for MAGA talking about caravans. Now they all are gonna want to jump on that.
I'm going to appropriate it. If they're taking my culture, I'm going to take it back.
It's the halal caravan. Um, First of all, how many people on this chat? This is one of the most important questions I've asked you, I think, to date. How many people on this chat know how to pronounce Waj's first name?
How
By
many?
show of hands or hearts. Do you guys know? Oh,
I don't think
yeah?
many people know.
Do people know? Waj, please, how do you pronounce your first name properly?
The way you pronounce my first name is if you were my mother, you would say Wajahat. Wajahat. It's like imagine taking out like a katana blade. Wajahat. Wajahatali.
Washahat.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
like
That's
it.
very good.
Yeah, wajahat. I like the idea of taking out the katana blade. The katana blade actually has a lot of oomph. Um, thank you always. Waj, when we spend time together, wajahat. When we spend time together, it's very cathartic for me. Number one. Number two, thank all of you, including God, for being so always patient and for the privilege of us being able to spend time together. I really wish there was a way that we literally could just convene in a place and be together and have these conversations. I think they're very important. But number three, with with the utmost sincerity, this is authentically how I feel, and this has not changed, and it is only getting stronger. And I am unapologetic about taking the stance, which is I'd rather take the people that are driven by cruelty and hatred, and let's just do like a penal colony somewhere and just put them on somewhere else. I have literally said, if you don't like it in the United States, then you need to leave because I like it here. I want to break bread and be in communion with the people that I care about and that I love and that care about me and that love me. It sounds like you actually don't want to be here in the United States, ugly white Christian nationalist white people. So maybe you need to take your sorry asses and go create your own fucking penal colony somewhere else. I'm sure there is a, virus infested island somewhere that'd be happy to take you. But oh, you would struggle, wouldn't you? Because you wouldn't know how to do anything as a colonizer if you didn't have the fucking people that you colonized to be able to build the shit for you, to be able to create your infrastructure, to be able to provide a roof for you, and to do the services that you have abused people of color for centuries to be able to do. But that's not going to be my fucking problem. And you know, Waj, I'm sure somebody will totally bastardize this and say that I am calling for
Oh
all
yeah,
sorts
for
of
sure.
insanity.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's your problem too, because I am over worrying about what you think. I am over worrying about your misinterpretation about how I feel. It's about as explicit as it can be. I don't want you here in the United States with me. So I think you need to pack your shit and get out. And, there's planes leaving this country apparently. Donald Trump has no problem, contributing to the degradation of our ozone layer by flying people and kidnapping them off. There's a plane that's going to leave the United States. Get on it and get the fuck out. Why don't you go to CCOT in El Salvador? Because you apparently don't want to stay here in the United States with me because I threaten you with my minority status. That's how I feel. That's it.
I have a country for them. Hungary. You all love Viktor
Oh,
Orban.
Victor. Yeah, go hang out with
Go
Victor
to Hungary.
Orban.
You all said that Steve Bannon said that Viktor Orban was Trump before Trump, and you want America to be like Hungary. Go check it out. Go check it out for the summer, for the fall. Go there for 3 months. Go to
Go
Hungary.
to North Korea. They could use you in North Korea right now.
Go to Moscow. Go to Russia. Donald Trump loves Putin. So go check out
You can
Russia
go to
and then go.
Alaska. Go to Alaska right now and go hitch a ride back to Russia with Putin. He'll give you a ride.
Uh,
He'll take you.
I, I love a radicalized Katie Fang. I'm here for the I give zero F's energy and I just see her now with a cigarette. I don't know why. I just it's like it's like right there. I just see it like a cigarette blowing smoke in the face of all the haters. Folks, there's 2,000 people watching. Thank you all for watching. If you've tuned in late, we've been talking for an hour to the great Katie Fang, who literally is all out of F's. Katie Fang is the host of the Katie Fang Show. I'll link to it. She also has a fantastic Substack. Please, folks, support independent media. We can't trust corporate media anymore. It pains me. I want to say this last thing. There are many good people, and Katie knows this. It was part of her team. There's so many good journalists who are being done wrong and dirty by the Redstones and the Ellisons and their corporate bosses. There are people at CBS News. I know them. People at CNN who really care about the truth, but unfortunately, their bosses care more about making money and kissing the ass, the pimpled orange wrinkly ass. I'm so sorry for that imagery, but I had to go there of Donald Trump. But corporate media can't be trusted anymore. So we're here, independent media. We're doing everything. I have no paywalls, but we put out this fantastic content. Katie's just even better than she was at MSNBC. She was awesome there because she's completely raw and unfiltered. I love it. So please support Katie Fang. I had Joy on just last hour. Support her. At the very least, become a subscriber. If you have a few bucks, please become a paid subscriber so she can, like, feed her children and also herself and also her team. If you have a few bucks for me, I have like 800 kids. You saw them running around, folks. I'm in California right now visiting my family. Thank you. Usually it's not my normal setup. I should be on vacation, Katie. You look at me, but like you, I wake up and I'm like, should I work? It's a child of immigrants. It never escapes. Should I work? I want to channel like the mediocrity of a white MAGA man. Let me just coast through life for a day, but I can't do it. I'm built differently. So I should be on vacation, but I'm like, let me talk to Joy and Katie for 2.5 hours instead because damn it, we care. At the end of the day, we care. I can't help it. So, folks, thank you for watching. As Katie said, at the very least, be kind. And Katie did say something very important. It's very important. It's going to be a long walk, folks, so you have to take care of yourself. Exhale, take care of yourself, take care of your family, find joy. And folks, please, oh, please don't be a fascist. Katie was awesome. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Waj.
Bye.